Which fantasy stud coming off an injury needs to be known on your radar right now after good news this week? Is there another lesser heralded NFC East receiver that needs to be smashed late in FFPC Big Gorilla drafts? And who are the 42 Joes that will represent the FFPC in the annual Pros versus Joes competition this season? Plus 2022 FFPC Pros versus Joes third place team owners Christian Hellmers and John Hurd will drop in to talk Brenton Strange, Zach Charbonnet, and so much more. We've got a great show for you. Ferrell, Elliott is here. I'm Eric Balkman. Stick around. Your high-stakes fantasy football hour starts now.
Can't stand the pressure. I've seen greater men that need a lesson.
Broadcast live and heard around the world, you are now watching the most entertaining hour of radio on the planet. Welcome to the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour presented by myffpc.com with your hosts Eric Balkman and Ferrell, Elliott. The High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour is your home for analysis from the best players in the world. And now, because no one else was available, here are Eric Balkman and Ferrell, Elliott.
Solace in the scripture. Are we not all our father's sons? I became a man. Nobody ever told me what a man was.
Greetings and salutations to all of you Balkaholics and Ferrelliacs. Welcome into the latest episode of the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour presented by myffpc.com. I'm your slightly above average host, Eric Balkman. My co-host is the definitive commissioner of fantasy football, Ferrell, Elliott. Coming up on tonight's show, we're going to discuss some injury news about one breakout wide receiver. We'll reveal the 2026 roster of Joes competing in the 2026 FFPC Pros versus Joes Challenge, and then the 2022 FFPC Pros versus Joes third place overall finishers. Christian Hellmers and John Hurd will drop by to discuss Malik Willis. We'll talk a little Trevion Henderson with them and so much more. Now, if you want to connect with us on X, you can do so at HSFF. I'm at Eric Balkman on X. Always learn more about Ferrell's Kentucky Fantasy Football State Championship at KFFSC.com. Post on our Facebook page, facebook.com/HSFF. Email the show at highstakesfantasyfootball@gmail.com. If you have any questions for us, now is the time to send them in. We'll try to get to everything coming up on the show tonight before the top of the hour. I want to thank our audio engineer, my best friend Bryce, and of course our producer and mutual friend Rob. The FFPC Joes were chosen by everybody who got in by that early bird deadline by May 31st. But that doesn't mean you still can't get a good deal on your main event team. $1 million grand prize right now, and each additional main event team you sign up for now after your first one, you're going to get $600 off that. Check that out at myffpc.com. Big Gorilla drafts have been flying both live and slow. We got that 7 bananas promo going on right now, so hopefully you can get multiple 7 picks in a row to win free FFPC teams. $1 million grand prize in that contest as well. The Baby Gorilla, just $125 to enter, but you can still win $100K. It is the exact same format as the Big Gorilla. And we got 2 best ball tournaments. The Superflex Best Ball Tournament. Shout out to Tom Strachan from Fantasy Pros, who's been streaming a bunch of his $35 FFPC Superflex Best Ball Tournament drafts. You can also win $100K in that. And of course, our best ball tournament, we upped the grand prize from $300K to $400K this year. That's a $125 entry. So check that out at myffpc.com. For those of you who want to play Dynasty, we have Dynasty startups and Empire startups filling up at myffpc.com. Anywhere from $1,000 all the way up to $2,500. And Chop Leagues are available now. $35 to enter. Just don't be the lowest scoring team in your league on any given week, and you win your league. Cash, main event entries, and Big Gorilla entries are prizes there as well. It's all at myffpc.com, myffpc.com. Remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment on the video, share with your friends, share with your enemies, and get notified each and every time we go live. More on that coming up later on in the show. Before we can get to what's coming up next week, we have to get to what's coming up tonight. And I'm bringing my co-host to help me out with that. The incomparable definitive commissioner of fantasy football. You find him at KFFSC.com. He is Ferrell, Elliott. How was Sin City last week, my friend?
Welcome. Well, there were no sins made because I was just working. I was working so hard, and I really, really loved it. And I really hated missing the show. But you know what? You had a great show. I watched it on demand, and you and the guest, it was really good. So I feel like I better get back here and redeem my territory, or I may find that, I may continue to be all those accolades as you give me being the definitive commissioner, but I might be definitively out of a spot on Wednesday night, so I'm back here. And speaking of that, our Bill Hollywood says that this is Groundhog's Day. I think plural, meaning that there's two hogs. I'm trying to understand what he's saying there. Oinker took exception to it immediately, and I'm just I wonder what he's talking about. Another guy said it's Christmas, like Christmas Eve. You think they're talking about some of the things that are going to happen tonight?
I don't know. I mean, it could be. I know everybody's excited to find out if they're going to be one of the 42 Joes. Technically, there can only be one of the 41 Joes because the guy who co-hosted with me last week, Fred Hong, is the first Joe who got in this year.
Fred. Good job, Fred.
Yeah, so we know that there's going to be 41 names I'm going to list off here in just a few minutes. So hopefully everybody will stick around for that. I do want to get to some fantasy football stuff, Ferrell, before we get to that, and then we get Hellmers and Hurd coming up in a little bit as well. All right, let's kick things off tonight and talk about Teteroa McMillan. Maybe this is just me. There's not a ton of news coming out right now, Ferrell, and maybe this is just me overhyping this a little bit, or not hyping it, but like being overly concerned. He's got some foot soreness. He says he hopes to be ready for training camp. This according to Mike Kay. Okay. Now, McMillan has practiced some in OTAs. He's also set out a lot of OTAs as well. He told reporters that he feels good, even though he missed today's practice. Remember, at the end of last season, he was playing through a foot injury in 2025. He didn't miss any time on the field. He played in every game because he didn't miss any time because of the foot injury. But the fact that was December or early January or whatever it was when the Panthers were in the playoffs, and it's still bothering him, Ferrell. Feet make me nervous, man. And this is a wide receiver that having good footwork and being able to plant and cut to get in and out of his breaks, that's key. Are you concerned at all about foot soreness here in June, basically 6 months later or at least 5 months later from when he was feeling this?
It just may be their excuse for keeping him on the sidelines and letting him take a slower movement into camp. Yes, of course, this is an elite player, 70 catches, 7 touchdowns, 1,000+ yards. He's just beginning a career anytime. And Balky, when your feet hurt, you hurt all over. It's just there's bad things that can come from that. No, I'm not particularly concerned because I believe in the health and wellness of the training crew from the NFL, and they'll get him right. If they had any thoughts that he was endangering himself by being on the field, they wouldn't have him out there even in the limited way he is.
Yeah, and that's a good point. If they were concerned about this, he wouldn't be doing anything at OTAs, to your point, Ferrell. Right now, according to fantasymojo.com, at FantasyMojo on X, Darren Armani, the godfather of the Pros versus Joes competition, anytime we cite ADP on the show, it's all due to his website, fantasymojo.com. If you play in the FFPC, do yourself a favor, get a subscription there and enhance your FFPC experience. Teteroa McMillan in the Big Gorilla over the last 5 days is wide receiver 17 at the 405. He's going between Garrett Wilson and Zay Flowers. I guess I'm fine at that price despite the foot soreness. I think you talked me off the ledge, which is why I'm having you on this show for sure.
Thank you, brother.
You can wax poetic on this next one too. This is right in my backyard in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Tucker Kraft told reporters today that he expects to play week 1 with no pitch count. Going to get on my soapbox here a little bit. I don't think anybody's playing with a pitch count in week 1 because we play football, not baseball. Ain't nobody throwing any pitches out there.
It's not a snap count.
It's snap count. Thank you, Ferrell. It irritates the heck out of me.
Yeah, it is.
People call it a pitch count. It is a snap count in football. Anyway, rant over. Ryan Wood reporting this for Packers.com. Kraft said he's probably going to be getting on the PUP list to begin training camp, but he's said that he's going to use that time to get his conditioning right and get ready for week 1, coming off the week 9 ACL tear last year. Now, I have concerns about Kraft, and this is not necessarily like I'm feeling better about the injury, but I had Chris Weck from Fantasy Points on Insider Access last week, And he talked about, forget about the knee injury. Think about how hyper efficient this guy was last year and how hot he ran. Can we really be expected to see that again this year? Now with Christian Watson and Jaden Reed healthy, Kraft did so much of his damage last year when Watson and Reed were off the field. And how are FFPC players drafting Tucker Kraft right now? They're drafting him near the ceiling, Ferrell. He is going off the board right now. Kraft, tight end 7 at the 604. He's just behind Kyle Pitts. He's just ahead of Sam Laporta. He's within knocking distance of being tight end 5, just a few picks behind Harold Fannin. I'm starting to get worried that if you draft Kraft that high, it's fine if he's producing the way that he was or close to what he was last year. Don't know if that's going to be the case with Reed and Watson healthy, though.
One of the who is that? Whole NFC North is fun to draft. Yes,
that's our buddy Sean Green.
And Greeny is right about that. That's a situation where you see a lot of points, you see a lot of potential, and you see the teams and players. You're familiar with the teams and players. You opened up, and you do not live in fear, Balky, so I do not want you to worry. But I think this is as high as Kraft goes in the draft. I think it really is. This is he's at his upper ceiling right now. 32 catches, about 500 yards, 6 TDs in 8 games. Now, this is if you can keep these 3 receivers healthy and these 3 receivers on the field at the same time all together. Who did they lose? Dubs is gone. Watson is my guy in this group, but I can make an argument for the other players as well. I think in much the same way that we talked about Jacksonville 2 weeks ago, that the conversation that we need to take from this goes to the quarterback. I very, very much like what the quarterback can do. The quarterback, 23 TDs last year with only 6 picks. His quarterback rating was way up in the league amongst starters. I really think that if you want to get involved with the Packers, you can look at the quarterback and get him at a bargain price. What would our man tell us about that?
The mojo on
what would the mojo have to say about that?
Armani's mojo has Love at quarterback 20 right now.
See, and it's just free. And so if you like Kraft that much to draft him at 7, then God knows everybody likes Watson. And the 2 other receivers are open to debate. I probably like Reed best amongst them. But any way you look at it, if these guys are going to be that successful draft picks, why aren't you drafting Jordan Love?
It's a great point. And considering this nebulous situation we have with Josh Jacobs going on right now, Love still hasn't risen up to past Mayfield, past Shook, players like this. He's still down there. So I think he's a value right now. I think you're spot on. 19
touchdown passes by Love to the receiving core, the outside wide receivers last year. It's a great number.
We're minutes away from announcing the Joe's roster, maybe just a minute or so. I want to get to one more thing here, Ferrell, before we get to that. Alec Pierce is saying that he could return late in Colts training camp. Mike Chappell or Chappelle, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Apologies to you, Mike, who covers the Colts, reported this today. He had ankle surgery in late April. Pierce did. He waited on it. He talked to some doctors, and they said you should probably have the surgery. It's a 4 to 6 month recovery, and he had this surgery in April. We don't know if this dude's going to be active for week 1 at this point. When you consider that Michael Pittman's gone, the Colts were expecting big things from Pierce this year. And now I wonder if Pierce is being overdrafted and guys like Tyler Warren and Josh Downs should be moved up, because I'm a little bit nervous about Pierce not only not starting the season on time, but maybe, having a slow start to the season that maybe goes into October while he kind of gets up into football shape, because he'll be missing training camp. I think I'm off Alec Pierce, and I got to be, on Downs and Warren at this point. And maybe A.D. Mitchell is – or not A.D. Mitchell. Oh, God, I got to bring up my Colts depth chart. The other receiver there in Indianapolis, not Downs, and obviously Warren's the tight end. The other I know they drafted Deion Burks. It's Westbrook Akini late in best ball leagues. You could look at that guy as well. So I don't know, man. I'm kind of down about Alec Pierce after reading this today from Mike Chappell.
I would encourage everyone in the league to get down on him where I can continue drafting him and draft him late. Now, this player is who they want to target. He's the guy that's going to carry Jones. That's what it's all about. This is a great downfield pass catcher. But you're right, Balky. He's got to get downfield. He's unquestionable that he can do so many things of what you're looking at as a receiver to be successful. He high points the ball. He wins the contested catches. He's glued to the deep pass. He's everything you want in a downfield receiver. This is the most disturbing news that anyone who's been drafting early should have, because if you drafted this guy, you believe in this guy, you drafted him for a reason. You just didn't throw out a pick out there. A lot of the people are good about Downs. And, yeah, Downs is a good little receiver, good little complimentary receivers. It's not the kind of player that this guy is. There's no player that I'm rooting for more to return in full health, because I'm really anxious to see what he can do. And you know how much I love Pittman. I love the new location for Pittman, but Pittman leaving opens up a world of possibilities for this player. So I hope he heals very aggressively.
Yeah, and I have some Alec Pierce. I was drafting him early because I thought I was getting a deal on him, and now I'm a little nervous that I got wide receiver depth behind him in September. At least the buys don't start till week 5, but it's still a little nerve wracking. Okay, we have a message.
Frankie's got a question. You might as well go ahead and answer that. Don't rewind, Frankie. It's not worth it.
Oh, no, that's what I'm post. Frankie said just getting off work. Do I need to start from the beginning to see pros versus Joes, or is that coming later still?
I'm glad he put the word work in there.
Right. Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah. Crucial. Otherwise we'd be demonetized by YouTube. Scott Kobe is going to be joining us on Friday for extra reps. Says I'm about to announce them, and that's it. It is time to announce the 2026 roster for the FFPC Pros versus Joes. As a reminder, the names I'm about to mention all had their main event teams in and paid in full by May 31st, the early bird deadline. They got entered into the drawing. Thank you so much for the support, for everybody supporting the FFPC main event this year. There's a ton of entries, and we had to narrow it down to 42. Each one of these teams, or players, I should mention, will have the opportunity to draft in a 12-team league against 5 other Joes and 6 other industry pros. The winners of each of those leagues will win a 2027 FFPC main event entry, which is $2,200. Ferrell may or may not be sending the second place team a pair of socks. We don't know.
We have the socks covered.
Okay, the socks are coming. And then I believe Armani, and I have to check, and I didn't see, but he's been putting together a championship belt for the overall winner out of all 84 teams the last couple of years. So I'm predicting that out of these 42, at least 8 to 12 of the guys are regularly seeing a podiatrist for some foot issue. Probably,
I think that's probably what's going on. That's why we have socks.
Bourbon socks, according to Sean Green.
That's a thought. That's a thought. Ring those bad boys out, Sean.
All right. Without further ado, here are the names. I'm going to read co-owners as well, okay?
Yeah.
So the first ones we have here, Griffin Bushel and Brian Wells are in Pros versus Joes this year. A member of the Fantasy Sopranos family, Michael Carboni, is actually going to be drafting in Pros versus Joes this year. No stranger to the high-stakes fantasy football hour. In fact, the guy we had on just a few weeks ago, Bill Hollywood and his brother Dave Hollywood.
That's great.
And Pros versus Joes this year. Bill's in the chat room tonight, so congratulations to you, Bill.
Congratulations, man.
Ever since we switched the show to Wednesdays, Ferrell, I always say at the end of the show, as our friend Vince Staffolino likes to say, you're over the hump now. Welcome aboard to Pros versus Joes 2026. You're over the hump. Staffolino, Vince Staffolino is back in Pros versus Joes this year. I do believe I have to check on this. I think he was in before. I'm almost positive he's on the show before. No, not Vince. I'm talking about the next guys on here. Matt and Andrew Stone. I think Matt Stone's been on the show before. He will be in. A preview of the next RotoViz High Stakes Lowdown, which is going to be held July 7th at 10 p.m. My guests on that show will be in Pros versus Joes this year. It's Caleb Alcorn and Sean Isaacs, who've been on this show before. They'll be on the RotoViz High Stakes Lowdown, and they're drafting in Pros versus Joes this year. Congratulations to them. Another friend of the show, a guy who has been on multiple times, Steven Yergalos, the fantasy soprano himself, drafting in Pros versus Joes. That's going to be a lot of fun. So welcome aboard there. Longtime FFPC player, Graham Dowick and Damon Hibbard. That combo will be drafting in Pros versus Joes. Harry Mills, welcome aboard to Pros versus Joes 2026. Another former guest of the show. I believe I had him on. I could be wrong about this. I know I tried to get him on in the past. Maybe our schedules didn't match up. But Jim Robertson is going to be drafting in Pros versus Joes this year. We go through the list. John Sellinger is drafting in PJ. Nico Tomasi is drafting in Pros versus Joes this year. And then back from the dead, I think this is a screen name. Red Auerbach, Ferrell, is going to be in Pros versus Joes this year. So that'll be interesting to see him come back from the dead to draft
with a cigar.
With a cigar, no doubt it. All right. Former guest of the show, I believe both these guys have been on. Roy Parenzuela and Corey Hanstein. Welcome to Pros vs. Joes. They've drafted in it before, I believe. Sean and Jackson Sullivan will be one of the 42 Joes in Pros vs. Joes. Tim Parker and Josh Bishop as well. The former back-to-back mid-stakes league winner, overall winner, I should say, has the First and 15 podcast. Stay ready, Abib Egbatoba. You will be in Pros versus Joes this year as well. Christopher and Brandon Betts drafting in Pros versus Joes. Harrison Dillman is going to be drafting in PBJ. Ferrell, one of our Kentucky buddies by way of California, James Bednar, welcome aboard.
Hey, congratulations, Bednar.
Absolutely, yeah. John Flake and Dave Nichols, Kevin Robinson, Pat Leo, Michael Fay will all be that whole glut of guys there. Nolan Cradell and James Doubleday, that tandem will be drafting. Anthony DeToma, and then a guy that I've hung out with in Vegas before, drafts in some of the big paybacks out there. Matt Gruberger, along with Scott Gruberger, will be in Pros versus Joes this year. We move on through the list. Jeremiah Turner and Chris Herbert. John Shaw, the War Eagle himself. John Shaw and Jay Wenning sharing a team in Pros versus Joes this year. Dave McQuiston in PVJ. Dave Coleman, longtime FFPC player. Troy Wells and Nicholas Trice. I have to go back through the annals in HSFF Hour history. I think I might have had those guys on at one point, but they're in Pros versus Joes this year as well. Clayton Etheridge, welcome to Pros versus Joes 2026. Adam Rillett, welcome aboard. Former FFPC main event winners Tim Deneau and Tim Bolu will be joining Pros versus Joes this year. Exciting to have those guys drafting. They will be a force to be reckoned with. Steve and Sean Klitzner will be drafting in Pros versus Joes. Matt Moore, welcome aboard to Pros versus Joes. Mark and Brent Messina, no stranger to the FFPC family of podcasts. They will be in Pros versus Joes. Kevin and Brad Brophy, who I know draft in Las Vegas every year. Paul Teixeira and Peter Puzo, who have been on this show multiple times, will be in Pros versus Joes. I have two names left, but one of them you already know. It's Fred Huang, who co-hosted the show with me last week. You know, he was in. And then the final Pros versus Joes member for 2026 will be Vi Warburg. Welcome aboard to Pros versus Joes. That's the list I have for you tonight. Congratulations to all the people who got selected in the random drawing. I will have a full announcement on the FFPC email that goes out on Friday morning. So you'll see the full list there. You can reference that. If you heard your name called, Darren Armani will be reaching out to you via email shortly to get you scheduled for these drafts, which do happen, I believe. Don't quote me on this. They are going to go off July 26th, 27th, 28th, August 2nd, August 3rd, August 4th, and then the slow draft pops off, I believe, just before July 26th as well. So there you go, Ferrell. It's quite the list we have here.
It's an impressive list, and I recognize about 30 of these guys, which makes me happy, to know this group, and our Kentucky and Las Vegas FFPC crossover guys. It makes me happy to see that they'll be in there as well. It's a good group, and the pros can just continue to live in fear because these Joes will bury them in a crypt that no one will ever discover.
the Joes have controlled this the last several years. We'll see what happens going forward here. Now, I want to bring in tonight's guest. They've been incredibly patient, and both of them require significant introductions, Ferrell. The first guy I want to bring aboard is a player who's never been on this show before.
Really?
He is the 2014 World Series of Horse Racing champion, Ferrell. I'm not making this up. $270,000 at the Orleans Casino. Won it there. The first two times he and our other guest tonight hung out, he won $200,000 at the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge and finished second in the World Series of Horse Racing. Then they used to have a gambling reality show called Horse Players, which was started back in 2014. You can check that out on Amazon. And he also has a new fantasy horse racing company called Long Shot Fantasy, which blends fantasy and horse racing. So that's going to be coming up soon. And you can watch him on YouTube right now for his The Price is Wrong show. It's a fantastic horse racing show. You follow him on X, Raw or Die. Please welcome onto the show, Mr. Christian Hellmers. Christian, evening.
There he is.
So good to have you, man.
Hey, it's always good to see you. And Ferrell, I think the last time I saw you was in Vegas, and I'm not going to say what was going on when I saw you in that casino.
We were talking horses, I do believe.
Yeah, it was Sin City. There was a lot of sin going on at that time.
Goodness gracious! Well, you must have different measuring sticks for this sin stuff.
Well, I think what you could do is you could upgrade the socks and come up with maybe something that could be a little more sinful. That might inspire more people to want to play.
We have some players that need to use those socks, so it'll be important.
Like the Red Hot Chili Peppers use the socks, or
maybe so.
We're this close. We're walking the line tonight. We're walking the line. But I want to move past it and bring in our other guest tonight.
We have two guests, Bob.
We have two guests. Yeah, we have two guests. His best finish in the mid-stakes contest back in 2012. He finished in the 10th in the top 10. Famously, the last time that this guy was on this show, Ferrell, it was the day before I got married. The day before I got married, I did a show, and he was on this show with actually Mark and Brent Messina, who are in Pros versus Joes this year. He had a really bad final week, didn't end up winning the whole mid-stakes contest, but he's been very talented, won a main event league in his career. And he, along with Christian, finished third overall in the 2022 FFPC Pros versus Joes. In fact, they finished third overall, second in their division, and the team that they finished behind overall drafted right next to him. They were in the these guys were in the 9th spot, and Dan Williamson and JD from the GOAT District were in the 8th spot, and they ended up winning the whole thing. Anyway, you follow him on X at No Logistics. Please welcome in back to the show, Mr. John Hurd. John, good evening. Welcome.
What's up, fellas?
Hey, John.
Excited to have you on. I'm going to get this out of the way right away. I said I listed the full list of Pros versus Joes for 2026. Once again, I lied. There is one more team I didn't name, and it is the tandem of Hellmers and Hurd. Welcome to 2026 Pros versus Joes.
Gotta love that.
Yes, sir.
Wonky, I didn't know you had that in you. I didn't know you were that kind of crafty. You're gonna tease us like that.
Yeah,
that's shade. He just shaded us.
It was shade, but you end up winning. You end up profiting off of it. So I figured,
hey, brother, we'll take it all day.
That's right. Okay, so welcome aboard. Now, 2022 third place finishers in Pros versus Joes, and maybe 2026 overall winners. We shall see on that. Before we get into fantasy football, I do want to. I mean, Christian, I kind of gave you this big introduction here with your horse racing background. Is there anything I missed? Because like you're a big name in horse racing.
I take it real serious. I think I probably spent 95% of my weekends either looking at the cards and finding some form of value. The thing I will say about horse racing is it's almost identical to fantasy football. It just takes that muscle where you got to try to find the patterns and you got to kind of break things down. You got to be different, got to find value. And so, yeah, man, I have won about 30 something tournaments, cash games. I just finished third in the Belmont Stakes Challenge this weekend. I don't know if you guys watched the Belmont. Did you guys see that?
Yep.
Anyway, there's so many cool things about racing, but I love it.
We had the female trainer win again.
Yeah.
For a first one ever to win a Triple Crown in the race, and then she wins 2 of them this year. I forget her name. I apologize.
Yeah, no worries. Cherie DeVoe. Cherie DeVoe. The thing that's interesting is that horse, just real quick, because I know this is about fantasy football, but everybody disrespected that horse in the Derby big time. And then the horse comes back in the Belmont, and everybody's hating on this horse because they think this renegade horse that this horse beat is better. Man, the public is wrong. That's why it's the show. The Price is Wrong, dude. People don't know what they're doing.
John, what about you? What are you doing for a living when you're not winning FFPC main event leagues?
Man, I'm a dad. Yeah. No, I'm a financial advisor for a living.
That's awesome. So you guys, you definitely know how to price players correctly when it comes to drafting fantasy, and I think that's where we should lead off, Ferrell, because, and we'll throw this to John. There's an interesting price on one sophomore tight end right now that not predicted him going this high at this point last year.
Right.
We have a recency bias, just like in horse racing. We want to know what you did the last time out. So Colston Loveland is a guy that I think our FFPC drafters, with the 1.5 points per reception to the tight end premium league. I don't know if there's any aspect of considering this guy to be overdrafted. So if you guys are at the end of the second round, is that about the right time for you? Or are you Loveland guys? Will you just go out and get him no matter what the price?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I last year, FFPC points, he was at tight end 12, and he was right at 190 points, but the thing that you got to watch out when you're looking at those stats is the beginning of the season, he was averaging like 4 points a game, was a little bit hurt, whatnot. And then he finished the season strong. And you got to look at that production the last 10 games. Let's say he averaged 15 points a game. He's got Caleb at quarterback, talented young quarterback, obviously, but the thing with him, I do like, I'm a Loveland fan. I collect sports cards. He's a hot name right now in sports cards. The kids love him, when they rip in packs. So I look at these things, but for me, I'm not shooting for Loveland. There's other players I think the tight end, we'll get into this later with some questions, but the tight end position I feel is pretty average in the, let's say, round 7 to 17, where you can get a bunch of different tight ends. And I think Loveland's, I think it's not enough love for me in the second round.
I feel the same way, brother. I feel the same way.
Yeah, I mean, granted, when I was drafting in Kentucky, the tight ends don't get pushed up because it's not tight end premium. But I felt like I was getting him pretty solidly in like the 5th or whatever. And now even in KFFSC drafts, he's being pushed up. And I feel like, God, I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze.
That's how I feel.
At 211, man, you really got to believe in Loveland at that.
He needs to go from a 194 total points to a 250 and above for him to be really second round material for me, even at the end of the second round.
And
those people that love him, they'll argue with him that he's already there and beyond.
Right. Yeah.
They'll argue with you all day long.
It's all about range of outcomes, and certainly he could hit that. But for me, it's difficult to say that's likely, and I want to draft him at that spot. Now, Christian, a tight end that is not going near as high as Colston Loveland is Brenton Strange. Now, he had his coach, I think it was Liam Cohen, talking him up today and saying he's going to be a big piece of what they do in the passing game this year, which is an interesting thing to say when you consider Jacoby Myers, Travis Hunt, maybe not Travis Hunter, but Jacoby Myers, Parker Washington, Brian Thomas, who's getting a lot of flowers right now. Strange is going off the board at tight end 19 right now in the FFPC Big Gorilla. That's mid 11th round between Kenyon Sadiq and Juwan Johnson. When you look at whatever teams you're going to be drafting this year, does Strange strike you as a guy at that price in that offense as a potential target for you on your FFPC teams?
It's kind of interesting because we are publicly facing right now, and I kind of have to keep my cards a little close to my chest, but I won't because it's Ferrell and it's bulky. Like, why would I not be open with you guys?
You gotta be open, brother.
It's one of those things where anytime I make a decision, whether it's in business and love and fantasy football and horses, it's all about my options. So when I look at my options and I look at that position, there's a lot of really interesting players in that round 11. So it will boil down to the structure of the build. And, John brings up a good point, and we're going to probably go back and forth on this a little bit this year. But when you have like a lot of interesting, reliable kind of old faithful tight ends in the later rounds, you could grab 3 of them and diversify and then play roulette when the time comes and do the matchups. But if I don't have a tight end in the first 6 rounds,
Right.
then I definitely will consider them. But I think there's so much juice in that lemon or lime or
whatever citrus fruit you want to pick.
With this player, with all the Jacksonville receivers, I'm even beginning to question some of my appreciation of Parker Washington. There's just so many players here, and all of them seem to have spike games, including Jacoby Myers, who's one of my absolute favorites. But it was like a roller coaster with every player. Parker Washington finished strong in this league. We talked about Jordan Love earlier, Balky. We talked 2 weeks ago when I was with you guys. We talked about the quarterback here. Here's just another situation where I like the quarterback better than any of the other fantasy options around him. I think the quarterback's going to do well. I'm just not afraid who he's going to do well with. And now I can't say that. I guess I'll throw this one to you, Christian. I can't say that about Cleveland. I just think this is a situation that I want to avoid. Although I love the 2 young players, the two young receivers here, Boston and Concepcion, and then Jerry Jeudy, bad hands at any speed. It's just that's my line on him, and not much play strength. And then I don't know which quarterback it's going to be. I'd like to hear your opinion on that. But these intriguing wide receivers, are you going to do anything with them on the draft, or are you just going to be like me, sit on the sidelines and let someone else take that risk?
Well, I think the interesting thing is Boston. There's some value there. So I will say, there's definitely, you pick that guy up in 15th, 16th, 17th round. He'll probably get some drum beats. He'll probably move up. The problem I face is, rookies, they get going late. So you got to sit for a long time. But if you're picking them late in the game, in the draft, it doesn't matter. But you might see a quarterback change, and Shedeur will probably be playing by then, I'm guessing. So it could be a whole different situation. So I guess I can't take any of these guys earlier than that. So I'm the only guy I'd be interested in would be probably Boston.
Okay, fair enough.
Right now, if we look at the mojo on these Cleveland receivers, especially the rookie ones that we just talked about, you can get Denzel Boston as wide receiver 66 in the Big Gorilla in the 15th round. Concepcion, you got to pay up. He's now moved into the late 10th round as wide receiver 51, and he is going off the board as the number 1 wide receiver for Cleveland. Jerry Jeudy falling to the 17th round at wide receiver 70. Speaking of falling, well, this guy should have been a high pick this year, John Hurd. It's not happening because he tore his ACL late in the season, and that is one Zach Charbonnet from Seattle. So you would think with Kenneth Walker moving on, Charbonnet, this would be like round 2 territory, right, for him. And healthy, and they don't take Jadarian Price, probably. But he's not healthy, and they did use a first-round pick on Price. Redraft leagues, I'm concerned about this guy because he tore his ACL so late. And we know that even when you come back, the first time you come back from an ACL tear, you're not really your true self, right? It takes a while, even once you get back on the field, to sort of trust the knee, get back to, your regular flexibility, so on and so forth. And then, John, I look, he's running back 44 right now at the 1201. This guy might not be playing football until December. I've had the opportunity several times to draft Charbonnet, and I just can't do it. Am I missing out on Charbonnet here? How high are you willing to draft him? Is that a spot that you'd take him at that 11-12 turn right now?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I'm a Notre Dame guy. My stepdad was an All-American. He played football at Notre Dame. So I'm really familiar with the program. Jadarian Price is a great player. Obviously, he had a really good running back with him in his backfield that got drafted pretty high. But he was a first rounder. He's going, fifth round here right now. I feel like if I'm taking a back in that backfield, I'm taking the younger horse. I think that Charbonnet is great. I mean, great player. Last year, he had, 12 touchdowns, 700 yards. He's definitely a producing back. But in this situation, unless he falls further, like 12th or 13th, and I can steal him somewhere around there, depending on how I'm constructing that team and where I am in the build, in the process, if I need a guy, I'll consider Charbonnet in that spot. But if there's someone else I find I need better, I'm going with that back, just because I think JP is going to be the leader in that backfield.
John, let's go to somebody I know you like better. Somebody that I absolutely love. And when the announcement was made that David Montgomery would be leaving Detroit to play in Houston, I said, this is a change of venue that I can get behind. What do you anticipate for him there? How are you, the offense may not be as explosive, but I see it as dependable. And I think he's going to raise all boats. I think he's going to be a little bit better ball player to help everyone out at this ball club. Your thoughts on Montgomery, and are we going to see a true breakthrough year for this player?
Yeah, so it's a great question. Montgomery's going in the 5th round right now. Last year he had 700 yards, 8 touchdowns kind of guy. Obviously he was in a community share backfield with a stud running back. So this is his opportunity to share. I do think he'll still be in some bit of a community here in his position now, because Woody Marks is not bad out of USC. I mean, the guy put up 700 yards last year. I think that Montgomery will be the goal line back. Christian and I, we looking at Montgomery as more of a goal line guy, which that's good for him, good for his production numbers. So I mean, I would definitely consider Montgomery depending on who's there in the 5th round. I mean, I'm looking at my board right now. You got DeAndre Swift, Bucky, Darian Price, all these guys, the Scatterboo fall, just Trevin Henderson fall. So these are the questions you got to, look while you're on the board. But I like Montgomery. I always have. I think he's a physical specimen to look at. Dude's a beast.
You guys are both numbers guys, so give me some numbers. I want numbers on rushes and touchdowns and whatever you can give me on Montgomery, because you're a great numbers guy. And
I think he will be
a great predictor. So let's have it.
If he was a 708 last year, I'm going to say he's a 1200 type, maybe 11-12 guy this year. And now if he stays healthy, sky's the limit. Guy could go for 14, 15 touchdowns.
That's what I'm seeing and what I'm hopeful for. And in the 5th round, doesn't that sound pretty good?
Sounds great. Yep. And I actually had to slow down on drafting this guy because I felt like I was drafting too much Montgomery. I'm like, geez, I got to work in DeAndre Swift and Jadarian Price here a little bit in the 5th round. Plus, that's also, like, if you look at for FFPC, for Big Gorilla, I mean, you can also get Jalen Waddle there. You can also get Mike Evans there, DJ Moore. I mean, I know there's a lot of people high. It's seemingly different sets of people are high on all 3 of those receivers. Yeah. That's another thing to look at in the 5th round as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go deeper again, Christian, and we'll talk Malik Willis here. And I bring this up Ferrell's probably sick of talking about Malik Willis, but I bring it up because I want to get as many opinions as possible on this player. Quarterback 21 right now in the Big Gorilla at the end of the 15th round. I think about how good he was in Green Bay when he was asked to make plays, especially in that Baltimore game when Baltimore was daring Willis to beat him. And he did beat him, both with his arm and his legs. But it was a small sample size. And now he goes to a much less talented team, a team that did, is going to grow up this year, that they're not going to be, competing for the playoffs or a Super Bowl. But I still see that tantalizing upside. I was just in a Kentucky draft now, and I took him as my backup quarterback again. I think the upside here at quarterback 21, I've been drafting him a lot there. But I'll ask you, maybe I'm missing something on Willis. Your thoughts on him this year, the new Dolphins quarterback?
Yeah, I think it kind of reminds me a little bit of Daniel Jones last year for me in the sense that I mean, you get him for free. So it's like, if you want to, pass the hat, go ahead. I mean, I got a ton of Daniel Jones and some best ball stuff. And so I like getting these cheap quarterbacks that are going to be starters that especially have upside on the ground. And this is going to be a broken team. We all know that they're going to be dysfunctional and it's going to take a long time to figure it out. But I think ultimately at that point you need to, like, I'm thinking of trying to win $1 million. So I'm thinking, how can I take this thing down? And so Malik is kind of like I don't know, it's like a nice dessert or something. Maybe it's a second or third, cognac or whatever. But to me, it's like I'm focused on round, like, Balky. I'm looking at the first 7, bro. I'm looking at the first 7, and I'm trying to come up with a unique combination that's going to separate me from everybody. Like last year, I took Puka at the 1 and the 2 and the 3, and I got lucky, but I couldn't get the rest of it. So I'm looking at things in the first 7. So have at it. Take as much Malik as you want. I don't think there's any problem there. But I think the game that I like to play is be different. So in the first rounds, like I may take a guy, like that goes in the 20s at 10 or 11, things like that, to try to mix it up.
You are just a wild man, Christian. I just love it.
So wild.
We have a new nickname for Malik Willis on this show. Ferrell, we are going to refer to him as Second Cognac from here on out.
Wait, third cognac.
Third cognac, even better.
Fourth bourbon. Because you'd have to at least get 4 in me before I would draft him. Who's the quarterback that's going at 20?
Well, I think here's
Jordan
another
Love.
one.
Malik was at 21. Well, Balky, it makes all kinds of sense for you to take Malik in at 21.
Another issue he's going to have is Quinn Ewis and a slew of just rookie receivers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, go ahead, Balky.
Well, I mean, like, the thing is, on the surface, it looks like a bad play. How many times, Ferrell, have we had people on this show? Why don't you guys just draft good? David Hubbard says this all the time. I've asked David Hubbard to be on the show, and usually he does. But the thing he always says is, like, I'm not going to give good advice. Just draft good players, right?
There you go. That's all you need. That's all you need.
But how many people have come on this show and said draft good players and good offenses, right?
Yeah.
I think we can all agree that Miami does not have a good offense.
No.
So,
Right.
and Christian makes the good point. I mean, 15th round, draft all you want of Willis. He's not going to kill you there. I look at the upside, and I wonder how many people would try a build in like the FFPC Best Ball Tournament or even main event or Big Gorilla, where they really wait on quarterback, and then they have one of these steady type guys in like Purdy or Goff and Stafford as their number 1 quarterback, and then you take Willis as your backup, and then if Willis hits, mother of God, you're loaded at running back, receiver, and tight end, right? And now all of a sudden you have a top 12 quarterback you got in the 15th. Right. Not saying that's going to happen, but certainly you can tell yourself a story where that could.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. Let's go to Kansas City, Ferrell, for this next question.
Well, if let's go to Christian, because I have a horse racing tie-in. Christian, if the Kansas City backfield was the reserve backs were a claiming race, I don't think anyone would open up their checkbook. Let's just put it that way. I really can't find anybody there that I would want to buy. Walker has been always linked with the back, and we have a problem in fantasy football that the backfield by committee. I don't think any of these guys are committee eligible. Do you have a favorite one? Is there someone that you would be claiming the dark horse in the Kansas City Chiefs backfield? Tell us about it.
I mean, I guess I go back to how can you I mean, it's a late pick, so you're not really risking much. I think obviously Wilson is going to probably have the body, and I think there are some comparables. I can't remember who it was, but he's going to be decent. I think the challenge is when that offense is going to be kind of grinding games out, and when they're going to be playing a style of football that's meant to save their players for the playoffs, be smart, be clever, mix it up week by week, throw curveballs. I just don't see a lot of upside. So to me, it's not like, obviously if Walker went down, now keep in mind, Walker just signed a big deal. He's happy. He's probably going to eat a little extra, ice cream and smoke a little extra, whatever. But it's like, it's one of those things where he's not. What are you shaking your head for, Ferrell? What? I'm from California. What are you talking about?
That's not going to happen, sir. But in California, you do have a different outlook.
No, it's basically, yeah. I don't expect him to be Ricky Waters or whatever, or
Ricky Williams.
Ricky Williams was the thinking, yeah. But anyway, so I guess I liked Brashard Smith a lot last year, and I drafted a bunch of them. But again, he's just too little, and so he's not going to get volume. I'm looking for volume. I don't think Ken Walker's going to get a ton of volume, just given the fact of the way they play. So I just don't see again. You look at the data for the last couple of years, the running back position, Pacheco had his moments, but he's obviously not the same. But you still, I don't get excited for the explosion. And so I wouldn't really care. So I'm pretty indifferent. I would say, if look at the matchups, see if there's something going on. Maybe you could get, some of these guys on waivers, if they fall off early, but it's not a serious question to me. So.
Emmett Johnson, 1209 right now. It's weird that I don't even see Amari DeMarcado anywhere in Kansas, anywhere in Big Gorilla draft boards. I think he's going to eventually come up on there. It's not fun to draft him right now, but certainly with the amount of time that Walker has missed previously in Seattle, that they're and I don't think any of these guys are league winners by any stretch of the imagination. But it would be interesting to see if Walker does miss 2 or 3 weeks with a soft tissue injury, what DeMarcado could do as the lead back behind Patrick Mahomes, or Emmett Johnson behind Patrick Mahomes. I think that'd be interesting. And certainly these guys, Johnson's being pushed up. I think I'm with you, Christian. Get one of these guys late, like DeMarcado, who's not going at all. And you never know what you find into. Adam chiming in. DeMarcado is running back too, and he has been running as running back too in OTAs ahead of Emmett Johnson.
Yeah, I think that's the better value. I think that's the better value if you're going to take one of those guys, especially if he's not getting. And again, if you want to be different, right, and you're playing early event, like main event stuff right now, getting that guy for free could add some value. So
the interesting part to me to Kansas City's backfield is all these guys are like 5'10", 200 pounds, very similar. You look at DeMarcado, he went to TCU. He was a 350 rushes with 0 touchdowns. Smith was, Brashard Smith went to SMU. So, I mean, they're getting them from nearly the same city with TCU and SMU, as well as the same size. These guys, the interesting thing at their stats from last season also was that both guys did not have a rushing touchdown, but both scored a receiving touchdown, one. So they had more receiving touchdowns than rushing touchdowns. So for those reasons, I like guys that I see production-wise. So for me, I'm looking at Emmett Johnson coming as the rookie with the fresh legs and see if he can do anything better, out of those three. But, if Walker can't get going. But if Walker gets hurt or something, to me, stash Emmett Johnson.
Well, I'll tell you guys, Walker's not going to take many snaps in the preseason, so we'll get to see what the other guys can do.
That's true. That's a very good point.
Take a look at it, and we'll decide later.
And to John's point as well, yes, I mean, Johnson is the most expensive backup running back there, but he's also the guy we don't know about, right? Like we have a season of Brashard Smith. We have several seasons of Amari DeMercado. We haven't seen anything with Emmett Johnson. And this is a player, too, that did all these things at the combine and did great, athletically speaking. And yet you look at what he did when there was like actual football going on. He was an actually pretty good football player. So who said that as well. All right, guys, let's fly here. Well, we don't have to fly, but you can break this down. John, I'm going to throw this first email from you. It comes to us from Joe in Queens. What's up, guys? I noticed that Trevion Henderson has been moving up draft boards. Should I be buying or staying away? Go Knicks. That is Joe in Queens. We appreciate the email. Your Knicks aren't doing so good so far tonight, but hey, it's the NBA. Anything can happen in the fourth quarter. We look at the ADP, John Hurd, for one Trevion Henderson right now. He has moved up to running back 21, knocking on the door of the fourth round. He is at the 503 right now. I'll let you weigh in on whether that's a price you'd be willing to pay. Maybe you feel differently about this New England backfield.
Look, I do like Henderson. You know, obviously he's going in the fourth round. Last year he was close to 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, you know, receiving 200 yards and a touchdown. But I kind of, for me, I'm waiting for Stevenson in the 7th, where I can get a guy that's going to get a little bitty dumps, you know, out the backfield. He had a little bit more receiving yards, receiving touchdowns. They were similar on in the rushing stats. So for me, I'm looking at Stevenson would be my play and spend up on another play in the fourth round that you could get right now, depending if you need a receiver or a running back. I mean, Judkins, I think, is pretty good, so he might be there.
I think it's interesting too. With like nobody ever come on this show and said, "Boy, I really love drafting Ramondre Stevenson. It's so much fun." Nobody. It's not fun. I understand that, but like we're trying to win, right? And this is a player that could be that should be a significant part of the backfield from the AFC champion team last year. And you can get outside the top 30 running backs in the Big Gorilla. I mean, that seems on the surface pretty good, especially as John pointed out. If you skip a Henderson in the 4th or the 5th round, think about that player that you could get there and then get Stevenson in the 7th round. There is certainly a path to victory there. One more email, Christian. I'll leave this one to you. It is from Randy in Sacramento. Hi, Christian and John. How big of a step forward are Tyler Shook and the New Orleans Saints taking this year? That is Randy in Sacramento. Randy, we appreciate the email. Christian, there's a lot of people talking up the Saints offense lately.
Who that?
Shook. Is it warranted?
I mean, well, John bleeds New Orleans blood,
which is why I didn't want to ask him this.
Because he's ineligible for the question.
Yeah, if you saw when we did the draft on the pros versus Joes, and you saw him, you know, getting all excited about Olave that year, and we took him over Trenton or Traylon Burks or whatever that other, you know, Tennessee guy. It's there's something about loyalty and there's something about passion, but I'm with John. I do think Shuck he showed a lot. He's got an incredible coach, offensive minded. There's a lot of weapons there now. So to me, like dynamite, that he's dynamite. I think that's a very, very, that's a pick that if I can take him, I'll probably take him as a backup quarterback.
Just don't let him grab Marquez Colston. Stay off Colston. No Colston this year.
You know what's wild too is we were talking about the ADP for Willis and Love. Tyler Shook is quarterback 18 at the 1405. Guys, that's after he's been climbing. Like he was going even later than that. But there's some Shook love coming through right now. John, am I pronouncing that right? Is it Tyler Shook?
Hey.
You would be better than me.
Hey, this is my guy. Okay,
yeah, I got it.
This is Tyler Shook. He's gonna be shucking oysters. Like you know, I would say this: last year when we started Spencer Rattler, I'm like, what are we doing? We go draft this tall guy who's 20-something years old, 25 plus, big dudes, like 6'7". Why are we not starting this guy? Finally, through the season, they put him in, and you saw what he did. The last few games, the Saints look good. They got a great quarterback, you know, and they got a great quarterback coach and a head coach and Kellen Moore who played the position. So I'm a Shuck fan. I think, and I'm not being a homer. at all. I think the guy's going to do good this year. They're surrounding him with some good players, whether it's the running backs or the receivers. Yeah, I mean, there's no denying. Watch out for the Saints this year.
And guys, here in Louisville, every radio jock, every local broadcaster on the local sports from the various network shows, they all pronounced it differently. I never did.
Course.
He had to get to New Orleans for me to learn how to pronounce the damn guy's name. So.
Yeah, well, anyway, one thing about that too is just real quick, Balky, is that, you know, Moore he's the kind of guy that would put up 30 points for a player if he has an advantage in a game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that's one thing I kind of look for sometimes is which coaches, like that's one of the reasons I'm not a big Chiefs guy, is because I don't feel like you're going to get that kind of consistency. But if Moore has an edge, he'll just like cut people's throats, step on them, you know, until they're officially dead.
Keeps pouring it on.
The last question, Ferrell, I will leave to you. And I'll you do it how you want, but John, you can go first on this after Ferrell asks it.
Yeah, and then the John, you do this question, and then Chris, I want you to tell me who won which horse won the 2017 Kentucky Derby, because that's when I went into retirement from horse racing. After 10 years off in 27, I may have to come back riding on your coattails of your genius. But okay, guys, we mentioned a lot of players tonight. I want to know somebody we haven't mentioned, somebody you love. You promised not to hold back. You're telling everyone that tuned in to hear the Pros versus Joes lineup from the Joes side, exactly what you're going to do, and I appreciate that. Tell us one player that we haven't talked about that you absolutely love, and then tell me a player that you're completely out on. No, don't want to have anything to do with it.
All right.
Two questions.
Well, that's tough because the guy that I like, we've already mentioned, and that's Chuck.
Well, you can't mention him. We got to go another guy.
I think he's a sleeper, you know,
right.
But if I can't go Chuck, then man, that's a tough question. Maybe possibly a Shane, the running back. I think that if in his current situation, if they can get him the ball, he can go for 1,000 plus and be sneaky. So I just think that he's got the talent to do it. So for me, if I'm looking for a sneaky play, maybe a Chane, but I got to go with Chuck. I just think he's going to explode this year.
Get it in there one more time, brother. That New Orleans Saints quarterback. What is his name?
Tyler Shuck, baby.
There you go, man. There you go.
You gotta love the New Orleans pronunciation of A Shane. John has his southern draw.
Yeah,
and watch out.
He knows what a lanyap is too, so maybe you get a little extra.
Watch out for ETN. He's going to be a homer. He's the pride of James, Louisiana. He's coming home to run for the Saints, and it's a different story when you get that Superdome and you put on that black and gold, baby. So watch out for him, because Kamara, you know, he's a little banged up. They're going to still run Kamara because, you know, he's our guy. But watch out for ETN.
The Superdome is my football home, baby. I'm with you.
John, is in your opinion right now, what's the percentage chance that Kamara is on the Week 1 roster for New Orleans this year?
0.
Oh, he's not going to be on the roster.
No, what I mean is like starting. Like I don't think he'll be healthy enough to start.
Right, I get that, but what's the percentage chance that he is a New Orleans Saint on the roster at all Week 1?
He'll play for free to play for the Saints.
And will they let him play?
They will. They ain't. The stadium. Nobody will show up.
Okay, all right.
Everybody will have his back.
Right. Second part of the question for you, John, before we get into Christian, who is off your board? Who's the guy that you're not going to have anywhere this year?
I'm going to say the top 3 or 4 tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
I feel that when I'm looking at the board, if I'm looking at tight end, I'm saying round 7 to round 17. There's just a plethora of tight ends that to me are kind of mid-range, all the same. And I'm just staying away from the top tight ends. That would be my answer. The top, let's say Brock Bowers, Loveland, and McBride. I maybe if McBride somehow slipped to the bottom of the second round, I'll take him. But other than that, and I love tight ends in FPC, so in FFPC. So I'm just waiting on the tight ends. I'm against the top 4.
I love that. Hey, Balky, Adam Hurd is having real problems with how we pronounce
pronunciation. I know. Adam's he's the pronunciation guy on this show.
He's Mr. Hearn's having all kinds of issues.
So McBride, I would say, has slipped a little bit, but I think he's coming back up right now. He very briefly was a second-round pick. He's back up into the 111, 112 area. Christian, I promise you we're going to get to this, but I do have to ask Jimmy Williams right now. Oh God, where did I see it now?
Where is Jimmy?
I thought Jimmy had a question. Oh yeah, right here. I'm going to put it up on the screen. Jimmy wants to know, John, what you think of Juwan Johnson this year in New Orleans.
I love Juwan Johnson. He is like a receiver playing tight end. He's got speed. He's a big dude. He doesn't really get, if he gets hurt, he plays hurt. I think I love him. Like if whatever he's in right now, wherever he's going right now, I hadn't really looked. But I'm trying to see if I see. Oh, there he is. He's in the 11th round.
Yeah.
I'd pay up for him. I think Juwan, he's a baller, man. He's every year I try to get him on my squad, and he's just one of those guys. He's going to play hurt if he has to.
Tight end 20 right now, as John pointed out, 1106. This is a tight end coming off a 77 catch for 889 yards.
Great numbers.
Great. Yeah, he's like a fast receiver.
Yeah,
the quietest 77 catch tight end.
He's the guy that the ball finds him. It just finds him.
John, I'm going to Jazz Fest with you. Kristen, I'm going to Derby with you. I've got 2027 lined out. I'm in.
There you go. I like it, Ferrell.
Christian, before we let you guys go, give us your sleeper and fade that you can bring on the show for us tonight to close us out.
Well, first of all, let me thank Ferrell for picking a big scab on my heart for Always Dreaming, winning the Kentucky Derby, I believe, in 2017.
Yep.
That is right. That's right.
Yeah, that one was I was in a tournament and I was betting between Classic Empire and Always Dreaming, and I ended up, instead of betting Always Dreaming to win, I bet the exacta. And I busted out. So thank you for
Balky's dear friend. Balky's dear friend, Doc Brandon Hakey, gave me a tip in January for that horse, and we bet it at the Wynn Sportsbook at 125 to 1.
Oh wow!
That was a wonderful experience, and I wish you had been on that. But you know what? It's been 10 years since that, so you can forget about it and now give us your winner. We got to have you back on the show in January where you can tell us who's going to win the Kentucky Derby. Exactly. But meanwhile, we want to know all about the podcast where people can tune in and listen.
Yeah. We'll for the podcast real quick. It's called The Price Is Wrong, and you can follow me. And I interview a lot of the elite, like hardcore tournament guys that bet for a living. So it's really just the same as fantasy football, but for horse racing, and we just compete similar like to FFPC stuff. It's just awesome. So if you ever want to, mess around and hear me interview some interesting people, come on. But let me answer your question. So the first thing I will say is there's every year I have to take a stand. I probably take a stand on 80% of the guys. I don't try to win this thing by just waiting patiently. I don't have that kind of patience and just let the draft fall to me. It's so hard. So sometimes I will if I get to a certain place. But the first guy I'm going to take a big stand against, first round. You guys know who it is?
Well, my first round bust. I've been staying away from Trey McBride, but we already mentioned him, so I don't know if he's your guy or not.
Not my guy. Ferrell, who do you think it is, Ferrell?
I don't believe in bust. I'm too positive of a person, so I don't think it's a first round bust.
McCaffrey? Is it McCaffrey, Christian?
Adam Hurd thinks it's McCaffrey.
And Ferrell, you don't sin in Sin City. I believe you.
It's true. I don't.
So I would say that after further inspection, I'm going to be avoiding Mr. Gentee this year completely.
Ooh.
This is spicy, Christian. We need to hear
more
about this.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, first of all, the build, is the number one thing. So if you're going to build in my world, or John and I are going to do this, I really think that the receiver position is vital early.
Yeah.
So I have a hard time taking a running back in that exact position. So that's the number one, is the build. The second thing is he, visually doesn't he doesn't knock the wind out of me. So he's fine. But there's also just the history of these second year guys that come back in, that don't have like amazing numbers. I don't know. There's just a lot of guys that come to my mind. Like, even though I wasn't like a huge fantasy guy, but I'm, in my 40s, but Forte and Doug Martin, Alfred Morris, Jeremy Hill. There's like guys that come to my mind that the second year they just kind of dipped. They didn't excel. So Maurice Jones-Drew, there's a lot of these guys that to me are overhyped. He's in a system that who knows what's going to happen. Bowers is going to get a lot of, God, he's an alien. He's just incredible. So like you have, I don't know. I just don't have the faith that he's going to get to the level that he's projected. So I would say he's an easy bet against for me this year. Absolutely.
Okay. I think where you had me, Christian, and this makes perfect sense. If you are drafting in the back half of the first round, that's usually not a spot I like to take a running back anyway.
Right.
If you skip Genty, maybe you could get St. Brown, but you should be able to get Jefferson. You should be able to get Lamb, proven players at positions that don't necessarily go through the car accident treatment for injuries throughout the season. So I think there's something to be said.
LSU Tiger.
Is there a sleeper, Christian, that you can give us as well tonight?
And again, a couple other guys came to my mind. Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Edwards-Helaire, sure.
I mean, even Najee Harris, like these guys, like they're all kind of like they're solid. They're okay. So I'm not going to bet okay with my first pick. So that's the number one thing. The other guy I'm going to give you a little bonus. It's not that sexy though, but I'm not going to be using Derrick Henry this year either.
Oh, here we go.
So I respect the heck out of him. He's a lion, but I also I can't do that. So there's other players, there's other builds that I would rather do. So those would be my two guys that I'm taking a heavy stand against this year. I probably have less than, best ball, less than 2%, something like that. So, and then I guess when it comes to, value, this is not easy for me to share because I can't tell you everything right now. So I gotta kind of.
Well, I think everybody knows the guy you're going to bring up. They may not know the guy.
I don't.
Once you say the guy, they'll know the guy.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a little. I'll since you like it spicy, Balkman.
Could you draw a picture of him and hold it up on the screen?
Just because we're competitors here. We are in this for more than a main event. It's ego driven. Right. So I'll play with a long shot because I like long shots. And I'll say Chris Brazzell. He's the guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, what is it about Brazzell? Is it situation? Is it talent? What has you on Brazzell late?
Yeah.
It's the number one, the value, getting him in the last couple of rounds. We don't know what the drum beats are yet, so we're gonna find out in the next couple of months. So it's early, and if he looks like nothing, then it's nothing, and we'll find out. But the system, I do believe that team is going to get better later in the season too, and I do think that that's when you want these rookies to develop is after more time. And so he's caught my eye a little bit. I like the way he moves. I like the way he catches. I just think he's underrated. So he's a guy I'm comfortable sharing in this situation, and hopefully somebody doesn't take him, in the last round and in the pros versus Joes. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys. Honestly, I'm just against. I'm like I said, I'm against about 80% of the guys in the first 7 rounds. So I'm really strict, man.
You got it figured out.
I was just going to say, you guys are drafting pros versus Joes next month or in early August. it's going to be slamming easy for you the first 7 rounds because you'll be dialed in and know which guys you want, which guys you want.
I'll take them early. John and I will take them early. We don't care.
I like your style. You know, there's some players on the PUP and there's some players on the IR. And Brazel will be on the missing persons report, but that's okay. I really know. I think that's a ballsy move. That player has some things that like. I want both you guys to come to Kentucky. It'll be easy to get John here. It'll be easy to get Christian here. John, we have a division named after the greatest general manager in the history of football, Jim Finks. So you'll love that.
Yes,
and
sir.
Christian, we'll take you to Churchill Downs and let you stay there as long as you want. And then we'll come back in and we'll be with you. And I have a friend that has produced a Churchill Downs board game, and I'm going to send you. I'm going to go
nice
and send you one. And John, you'll just have to wait for your New Orleans Saints.
Look, Ferrell, I dressed appropriately. I knew you said it was Groundhog's Day, so I wore I live in Little Rock, Arkansas. So I got my Woo Pig Suey Pigs hat on, baby.
Nobody is going to hold that against you, especially in Kentucky. Don't worry about it. It's good. See, you're already closer to being here.
Yeah,
I thought you were from New Orleans.
Yes, sir.
The gentleman who probably has set a record tonight for longest span in between appearances on this show, John Hurd, joining us tonight from season 1 to now season 15.
Wow.
That's right.
At No Logistics on X. Great stuff. The former top 10 finisher in the FPC. John, thank you so much for making us a part of your evening tonight.
Hey, anytime.
Being Pros versus Joes. And then Christian Hellmers at Raw or Die on X. You need to check out the horse racing show. The Price is Wrong. YouTube.com/The Price is Wrong with 2 G's. That is the best way to find it. And Christian, I think with everything else that you have going on, x.com/raw or die, we're going to find it there, right?
Yeah. I'm going to be there's going to be some announcements made the next couple of weeks. So yeah, I really love this community. You guys are great. This is like John and I met like on the reality show, became friends. He's like, I love betting big fantasy football. Literally the first year he talked to me to play the main event, FFPC. We ended up drafting. We picked up, who was it? Miles Gaskin. And we had so many guys that we finished 15th in the main event on one entry our first year. And it opened me. And so now we did the high society for 10,000, blew that in a heartbeat, and, did all these things and got a little full of ourselves. But, this is great. Thanks for, for taking the time, and hopefully we'll see you out in Vegas, and I'll do a live one out there too. So.
And guys, congratulations on y'all's show. Y'all have done like amazing over the years, man. Seriously, y'all are the leader in the industry, and I really appreciate it. I know Christian feels the same way. You guys, y'all really are. Y'all are legends in this industry.
Well, we appreciate that for sure, and certainly from Christian going from World Series of Horse Racing champion to FFPC main event champion this year. Along
there you go.
It could happen. Listen. Guys, and I don't know what you're going to do. If you do choose one of the live drafts, we'd love to have you both back on for like a 5 to 10 minute interview when we broadcast Joe's versus Joe's drafts. That'd be tremendous. Thank you once again. I know we kept you long tonight, but you guys were fantastic. This was so much fun. Keep up all the great work, both of you guys, and good luck. And may the ball bounce your way in the FFPC this season.
We appreciate it. Who dat?
Who dat indeed. Thanks, guys. Be good. Talk soon. That is Christian Hellmers and John Hurd. Third place finishers in the Pros versus Joes. Ferrell, maybe they win the whole thing this year. Maybe they're the first duo to win Pros versus Joes and the main event this year. It
could happen. What do you say about the non-zero chance?
There's a non-zero chance of anything.
Yeah, it's great, man. Yeah. And the thing about it is that I really like what Christian's coming with. He puts the double line under and through so many players. My situation with drafting is I can find something to like about every player.
Yeah.
And so I just try to grade them as how I like them more. If it's probably taking a shortcut and find something you don't like about them and take them off your list. But I think his first round pick that makes a lot of picking Genty as being a player that he does not want to get involved with. I think that's a lot of logic there, for him especially.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mose. I don't like – I will – here's the thing. Like Matthew Berry always says this. I don't hate players. I hate ADPs. And ADP fluctuates players throughout the season, right? So I'm always looking at it from like if I'm drafting in Kentucky or whatever, at a certain point, yeah, there's players I know I'm going to be out on. I know I will not draft those players. But if ADP shifts a month later or 2 months later, I might be in on him at that point. Now, the argument he presented for Genty, I think – that to me strikes me as even if Genty is like a round 3 or round 4 player, I don't know if Christian's going to be in on him at that point, which is fine. I mean, it's good to have clarity. It's good to have your belief system in place so you know what's going on.
And the belief system within the FFPC with KFFSC, it is so cemented. You will have people tell you that Aaron Rodgers was a terrible quarterback last year, but they will beat on their chest for Lamar Jackson. And Lamar was 6-7 last year, and Aaron Rodgers won, I think, 10 games. So it's just a fascinating hobby. That's why it makes it so great. And Jimmy Williams does speak nicely about us, doesn't he?
Yeah. He gave us props. Legends, Balky and Ferrell. We appreciate that, Jimmy. Legends in our own mind, perhaps. We have to wrap up tonight's show, Ferrell. I know we went a little bit long. We got to record extra reps here with Scott Kobe coming up. But I will let everybody know the KFFSC main event is filling up. The KFFSC Sweet 16 Best Ball Championship is filling up. There is a Draft Masters Best Ball that is very close to filling that I'm in. Compete against me and play against a lot of the people we've had on the show, kffsc.com. We just had Greg Wiener on a couple of weeks ago. He's in the main event, Kentucky Slow Draft, that I'm in right now, and we've been talking about it on X and sharing our opinions on each other's team so far. It's been a lot of fun. Check it out, kffsc.com. Ferrell, we will talk with you on Friday.
Thank you, sir.
That is Ferrell Elliott, the definitive commissioner of fantasy football. Wow, what a marathon show tonight. We revealed all 42 Joes in the Pros versus Joes this year. If you are looking for a copy of that in the FFPC email that will go out on Friday afternoon, Friday morning, that's going to have the full list in there so you can check it there. I want to thank Christian Hellmers, John Hurd, Ferrell Elliott, the FFPC, Rob Bryson, of course, each and every one of you. We will be back. This show will be back not next Wednesday. We're going to do live FFPC Big Gorilla draft coverage at 10 p.m. Friday next week, which, yes, means no extra reps, but you'll get a much longer than an hour episode from us at 10 p.m. Eastern time this Friday. Insider Access coming up tomorrow night on the Insider Access coming up with Andrew Erickson from Fantasy Pros. That is going to be 7 o'clock tomorrow night, 2 full hours of great stuff. We'll talk about running back fades. We'll talk about must-haves and everything with Andrew Erickson as he makes his return to Insider Access. Scott Kobe, the 11-time FFPC league champ, will join us on Extra Reps. That will air at 10 p.m. this coming Friday night. FFPC main event is going to be $1 million grand prize, $600 off each additional team after you purchase your first one. Big Gorilla drafts filling each and every day, live and slow. $1 million grand prize. Don't forget about that 7 bananas promo that we have going on. 2 best ball tournaments going on right now with the FFPC, including a $400,000 grand prize in our best ball tournament. That's up $100K from last year. The FFPC Dynasty and Empire startups also available. myffpc.com. Chop leagues, just avoid the chop by being the lowest scoring team in any week of the season. If you don't do that, you will be the champion of your chop league. myffpc.com. Remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment on the video, share it with your friends, share it with your enemies, and get notified each and every time we go live, which will be tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Andrew Erickson and myself, we will chop it up on Insider Access. That's going to be a lot of fun. As our friend Vince Staffolino likes to remind us, who will be in Pros versus Joes this year as well, you are officially over the hump now.
This has been another episode of the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour presented by myffpc.com. It was broadcast live and was watched around the world. Balky and Ferrell will be back next week with more analysis, more interviews, and more advice from guests much smarter than they are. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk with you again next week.
Well, in the never say die department, I know I talked crap about Joe from Queens, New York Knicks before, but 38 seconds to go. And after being down 29, they're up 1 in this game. You got to love the NBA. We love fantasy football a little bit more. Great show tonight, in my opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. And we will be back for Extra Reps on Friday. Andrew Erickson, 7 p.m. tomorrow night on the FFPC socials. He from Fantasy Pro. It's going to be a lot of fun. We will see you then, everybody.